Hello everyone, welcome to Rhythm in Africa and Mbira Lesson 2, where we'll continue looking at the Nyunga Mbira. Let's roll with it. So I've been trying hard to come up with a system to help learn this instrument, and I don't think it's one of those things that benefit from too much theory, so we'll go old school for this one. So what I mean by that is, instead of me giving you specific notes so that you go read the music of the Mbira, I'll rather play while you watch and listen and while you try to memorize the patterns, just like they used to do in the old days, and I'll explain later in the episode why I'm taking this approach. But for now, look and listen. So for those who are interested, let's quickly look at the note layout of the Mbira. So for you to get a deeper understanding of the note layout of the Mbira, let's first look at the instrument with the simplest note layout of them all, the marimba. So if the marimba is tuned in the key of C or starting from the note of C, the notes that make up the scale are basically... So you see, that sounds familiar, right? But look, we've skipped a certain note there, an F with a hashtag sign in front of it. In music, that's not a hashtag, it's called a sharp sign. And that F sharp on the piano, it will be one of those black keys. So the reason why they put that F sharp there is so that the marimba can be just a little bit more powerful than it already is. Because with that F sharp there, you can now also play the marimba in the key of G instead of only in the key of C. So that makes it a little bit more powerful while maintaining its simplicity. So in short, if you're playing the marimba in the key of G, you skip the F. And if you're playing the marimba in the key of C, you skip the F sharp. That's the only difference. So going back to the Mbira now, one interesting thing about the Mbira is to make the Mbira a little bit more powerful, rather than adding an F sharp there, they removed the F sharp and the F all together so that you can play the Mbira in both the keys of C and G without having to worry about always making sure that you skip a certain note all the time. So I know, this kind of means that the Mbira has one missing note of the scale, which means it has an incomplete scale. But don't worry about that, because this can easily be solved by two ways. The first way, you can either just sing the missing note because you've got a voice, remember. The second way is you can play it in such a way that you imply the missing note. For example, in English, you can say words in such a way that you can skip a certain word but still imply that word without actually saying it, just by saying the words that surround that word. I hope this makes sense. Okay, enough about note layout. Let's learn to play the Mbira now. So it helps if you have your own Nyunga Mbira, so that you can listen and practice the patterns so that you can internalize the patterns. But for now, look and listen. So one of the reasons why we're using this way of learning is, remember, the Mbira is an arpeggio machine. So it's easier if we start by learning arpeggios that people have already figured out, patterns that people are already playing, so that in future, after you've internalized these patterns, you can break those patterns apart, make your own patterns as you compose your own Mbira song. So I will first introduce you to a popular chord progression or set of chord changes known as Nema Musasa. And by the way, just like in a band, there's usually a lead vocalist or a lead guitarist and backing vocalists. In Mbira, there's also a lead Mbira, which is called the Kushaura, and a backing Mbira, which is called the Kutsinira. So we'll start looking at the Kutsinira first. So for now, look and listen. Okay. So I'm not gonna leave you in the dark here. In Mbira lesson 3, we're gonna take a look at the Kutsinira part. The Kutsinira part, which is the backing, in more detail, and I'll explain how you count the bars and everything that's happening in the Kutsinira part, which is the backing. And we'll also probably add the Kushaura part and also probably other instruments and make it into a full song. So we'll see how that goes, but if you don't want to miss that, make sure you subscribe and like the video if you think someone else could benefit from this. See you on the next one.